Our philosophy on community outreach is that it's very important to the life of the Civilian Oversight Agency. These oversight agencies grow from citizen participation. The continued participation engagement with the Civilian Oversight Program allows it to be strong to continue with this work. Now with our agency, we have 13 different programs that involve outreach, engagement, awareness building, and education with the public. One of them that you just mentioned was the Know Your Rights training. We believe that's important because not only should the public understand they have rights, but it's also about having the understanding of your responsibilities as citizens and being aware of the agency so that if you have a problem, you know who to come to and get it addressed. So that's the way we look at that's just one of the many things that we do with community outreach.
Well, do you still do the Know Your Rights?
Yes, we do. We do them.
Yeah, like in the libraries?
Yes, we do them at the libraries. We offer them at the libraries. We offer them at churches. Actually, we'll do Know Your Rights training at a family barbecue. Anywhere, anytime, that's what we want to do. We're here for the public. We want to be able to be where they are. So we don't put any limitations on providing information and education to citizens. That's how important we see it is.
I want to ask you about subpoena power, and I know that in Atlanta, or I believe in Atlanta at one point, the ordinance was amended to add that, but that seems to be always the bone of contention, and
yes,
the police and the police unions,
yes,
go crazy over. Why is that, and do you think there's any remedy or resolution, a way out of making that such a bone of contention?
Yes, in Atlanta, the Civilian Oversight Board got subpoena power in 2010. We haven't had to use it except for in third party or things outside of our government, because in 2010, the APD, the Atlanta Police Department, changed its internal policies to where the chief directed all officers that they had to comply with our investigations, which falls in line with the Garrity decision that if a supervisor or supervisor entity says that an employee must participate, then it protects their Fifth Amendment rights. You know, because you have to, there's an interest in the employee participating in this administrative investigation. So we had that happen. So we haven't had any problems with officers participating in our investigations. We haven't had any problems in getting information from the police department. And also our ordinance requires officers and other city personnel in other departments to participate and provide information as we're needed. Now, if we have to use a subpoena because maybe another chief might come in and change it, we have that to use. But we definitely use it if we have some camera or recording footage that's outside of the hands of the government that we'll need to for our investigations.
So from the FOP or the Police Association in Atlanta, you don't get a lot of pushback like we've talked about today or heard about?
We've been fortunate to not have the amount of pushback that I've seen in some other areas. When I was in Minneapolis, I saw a lot of pushback from the police union there. In Atlanta, we have a relationship to where we can have a conversation about things. There's certain areas that we have agreement on, and then we've been able to discuss those areas and move forward. Just this week, I was talking with the union about some issues that we want to try to work together on. So I'm happy about that. I mean, that's not going to mean that we're going to be in agreement on everything, because they have a role to play, we have a role to play, and that's just the way it is.
Well, do you think law enforcement in Atlanta sees this as a way to develop their credibility or legitimacy? I always feel like if they would embrace it, you know, and see that aspect of it instead of fighting it.
That's a very good question. I believe that Atlanta has accepted the idea of civilian oversight. The police department works with us. We haven't had the roadblocks thrown at us that some of the areas have. Now, we do have our challenges with our acceptance rate on our sustained complaints, but that's something that we have to work through. I view this oversight as a long game, where changes are not going to happen overnight, but it's going to take diligent, hard-working, honest people to work through the issues. Because we're talking about issues that developed over years and years. So we have to keep pulling back the layers, pulling back the excuses, and just continue to pound at making the changes. Because even if the chief says, "Oh, I love civilian oversight, I want to support it," well, they're not going to say I love it, but they're going to say, "Look, I think this is beneficial to us." You have to deal with the middle management and the other people that you have to get on board. And a part of that is through the relationship building, and a part of that is through how, in my agency, how we believe in protecting the process. We believe in integrity of the process and our procedures, and that's what we stand on every day. And that's the way we approach our work. You know, we're going to be honest with the citizens, we're going to be honest with the officers, and we're going to follow through with what we say we're going to do. And at the end of the day, it's about our integrity. It's about how legitimate the police department and the citizens see us. I view the civilian oversight as one of those things where you're always in the middle. Somebody's not going to be happy about something, but that's fine, because we're doing our job as being true to the process. And at the end of the day, it serves the citizens and the officers in that we have the best police force out there on the street, and that's what we're looking forward to.
Yeah. It seems to me that just the concept of civilian oversight and this being established in the different communities has a lot of potential, and maybe even, might say, broader potential than just hearing these cases and complaints. Like in your situation, if you had like a wish list, or here's the things I wish would happen to reach our best potential, what would that be?
I think my biggest wish list would be, after the creation of these agencies, that citizens still remain involved in the life of the agency. Police departments the supporters of police departments are organized. They have money, they have influence with elected officials. A lot of these organizations, civilian oversight agencies, they grow out of something that happened. And then you have the community behind it, the demand that it grows. But over the next 5 years to 10 years, because of things that are beyond the control of the oversight agency, there's a certain amount of apathy that could grow within the community. There's a certain amount of, oh, we can move on to something else. But the agency still has battles to fight. So we need to have citizens continue to stay involved in oversight, continue to vote for things that are favorable to oversight, and continue to pay attention to what's coming out of oversight to help hold the oversight agency accountable and to hold the police department accountable. And so that's what I would like to see. Citizens stay engaged.
Yeah, and part of that's where your community outreach and keeping things fresh comes in. Exactly.
We as an agency, we have to keep the public engaged by providing information, providing us transparency of what happens to the cases, going out to the community to educate, but also get that feedback from the community. Those things are important. We develop different kind of programs to keep that engagement fresh. These are the things that we feel we must do